So guys, once again, with this being part of the 28-day reset, week number 2, right? It's all about neat, right? Getting more steps in. And I just recently recorded a podcast going over specifically like the 5 easiest tips when it comes to speed up your metabolism. And I'll give you guys the list real quick. All right. Number 1, strength training. The second one is eating more protein. Number 3 is getting more steps and being more active, right? The neat, which we're going to talk about in today. And then number 4 is the sleep. And lastly, number 5, stress. Say that all the time, right? As much as you move, work out, eat healthy, if you're underneath a lot of stress, you'll never see the results that you want. Okay. So let's get back to, yeah, Jeff, you obviously know with cortisol belly, right? So let's get back to, once again, today's topic, the NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I'm going to share with you guys just, in my opinion, why I like going over this rather than just giving somebody cardio workouts to do. And I want to share with you guys a quick little image that's really going to help you out. And then lastly, I want Mike, I want Brian, I want Jason to just provide tips, provide value, right? And give maybe their own approach when it comes to cardio. Recently, Jason decided to do one of my cardio sessions, which is opposite of what I'm really going to be talking about today, which is, hey, sustainable stuff, but obviously, hey, throwing in some sprinkles, some icing here and there can really change things up and help you guys. Okay. So for starters, right, walking. This is, in my opinion, the easiest and most sustainable fat loss habit that anybody can adapt and stick with for the rest of their life. And that's the main reason I like this habit so much, is because right now I'm 32 years old. And guess what? I can be doing this when I'm 42, 52, 62, 72, 82, continue. Okay. Now with me, I can run, I can swim, I can do all these different, other forms of cardio, but am I likely going to be swimming and running sprints and, crazy sled pushes and sled pulls when I'm in my 60s and 70s, 80s? Probably not, So once again, this is just easy to do now, and it's also easy to do in the future. I'm somebody that also has bad joints. I don't know about you guys, but my knees ache, especially in the wintertime, right? From just cartilage, wear and tear from doing MMA and boxing. So I feel it. But once again, the walking like I'm doing right now is very therapeutic. Okay. And there's a big difference when it comes to walking to lose body fat and glycogen, right? Using, your muscle, using your carbohydrates. Okay. When you guys get your heart rate to a certain amount, right? This is when primarily you're using glycogen stores. But if you're able to keep your heart rate nice and low and still move your body, you're primarily just using body fat for fuel. I don't know if anybody's heard of the fat burning zone. I'm not obviously the biggest component of that, but there are some things in there that does kind of make sense. So I want to break down this image real quick for you guys. So once again, right, this is like the cardio pyramid. I was able to find this image online. There's 3 different types of cardio, guys. There's LISS, there's MISS, and there's HIIT, which you can see at the very bottom. So the LISS is your low intensity, steady state cardio. Literally what I'm doing right now, what Jason's doing, what Brian's doing, moving your body. Okay. Now, when it comes to moving your body in this low intensity, steady state, you're not burning a lot of calories. Let's face it. If I was going to go for a run for 5 minutes, I'm going to burn way more calories than go for a 5-minute walk, because I'm not utilizing a lot of energy to move my body walking compared to running. Okay. And then the running is the miss. So think about that as the jogging, the running, swimming, your moderate intensity, steady state cardio. And then we have the HIIT, the high intensity, steady state. That's like the burpees. That's the thrusters. That is the sprints, right? That's the stuff that's getting your heart rate to a certain high amount. And it comes with diminishing returns, obviously, because once again, you can walk and not utilize and burn through a lot of calories, but you can easily do this long term. It's more sustainable. On the flip side, if you're somebody that's going to go out there and run sprints, you can do that. You're going to burn a bunch of calories right there compared to walking. But the likelihood is, can you continue on that journey? Can you continue pushing through? So there's never going to be a one size fits all with anything, especially cardio, right? It's kind of like training your body with working out muscles. Find something that you enjoy doing, find something that you can progress with, and find something that you can stick with, because obviously to stay in this game long term, right? That means reaching your health and fitness goals and maintaining that success long term. It's all about creating sustainable habits. So Mike, let's go to you. Jason will go to you. Brian will go to you. Mike, why don't you kind of share in terms of like how do you like to do your cardio, right? And what helps you? And then also talk in terms of like your whole entire fat loss journey here at Heartletics, from where you started to where you're at currently right now, and maybe what has been the best tips and tricks that has helped you maintain your success.
Sure. So first of all, doing what you're doing right now, I got myself a standing desk and a walking pad underneath it. I attend a lot of meetings for work, so turn the camera off and just start walking. And just an hour of walking at my desk for a meeting gets me 6 to 7 thousand steps.
Yeah, and you actually, Mike, like I say this all the time, be that inspiration for others, and I lean on you guys also as inspiration. Mike, you inspired me because I got the same desk that you got because I saw what you were doing, and now I got a walking pad as well. And you're absolutely right. Like a lot of meetings, a lot of coaching calls, etc. You can burn a lot of calories and not even thinking about it because you're occupied, right? You're busy doing this, you know?
Yeah. Prior to that, I did a lot of what Brian's doing now. I was walking in place, watching TV in the evening with the fam, um, parking further away, when you're out running errands and stuff, just adding the steps where you can add them.
Yeah, yeah. And talk about recapping real quick, right? Where you were to where you got started, excuse me, where you got started at to where you're at currently right now, right? In terms of your heart legs journey. And then what has been like the best, let's just say three tips or three pieces of advice on how to maintain that success.
Sure. So just to recap where I started, almost 3 years ago now, I was at 240 pounds. Probably took me about a year and a half, almost 2 years to get down to where I'm at now, where I'm maintaining around 170.
Yeah.
Uh, and from 35% body fat to anywhere from 11 to 13%, depending on the season right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And what is the best three tips of advice to maintain that success? Because you mentioned about how 3 years ago you were here, now you're here.
One, consistency, right? And consistency looks different for everybody, but being consistent, um, maintaining, high levels of protein in your diet and staying on the water.
Yeah, yeah, that's key. That's key. Coach Jason, let's go to you next, man. So for starters, right, like let's talk about the cardio that you recently did because for the longest you were just doing primarily walking. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you lost over 100 pounds in terms of this coaching program, right? Okay, we'll talk about that also. But you primarily were just doing walking when you lost 100 pounds. Now we got signed up for Spartans race. We're going to be getting ready for that event. You're training now, right? You're doing some running, you're doing some jogging. And then today, you actually did one of my cardio workouts. So I want to know live and in the flesh, how was that cardio workout? What was the best part? What was the worst part? And do you regret asking for it?
I do not regret asking for it. I did until I was done. So the best part was the first 10 minutes because I got to walk on
Walking?
the treadmill,
Yeah.
walking on the treadmill. No, I actually enjoy the rower because I hate running, right? It hurts. It's a lot better now that I've lost 100 pounds. But the rower it's almost like zero impact, but you can get the heart rate up so high with that. I love the rower. So I
Did
didn't
you get
mind
the
that part.
500? Did you get the 500 meters or the 1,000? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I get it. I was about 1200.
Nice. That's really
Yeah.
good.
So that one, I like the rower. I did that back in the day and lost a ton of weight. The stair stepper, I was impressed. I impressed myself today.
Dude, that's
Because
tell you what, that's hard for me. I sweat
it, it
bullets
it
doing the stair
was.
climber.
That's where I started getting sweaty. But before, when I was bigger, I was only doing like two or three. Five would kill me on the levels.
Yeah,
I did seven today.
that's good. That's real
So for me,
good.
I was happy about that. And then, sprinting, my sprint is a lot of other people's jogging. I was at 7 miles per hour. That
Okay.
that worked for me. I liked it. I hated it in the last 10 minutes of my life.
Tell
Absolutely.
everybody what it was.
That is 10 minutes of walking lunges. And then uh, Coach Jeremy and I was talking about that on Facebook today. He was impressed. I was like, depends on your definition of a lunge and finishing. So they were probably the most ridiculous looking half-assed lunges that you would ever see in your life. And there was a few small breaks in as I was turning around. So I definitely, on a good day, lunges are hard because they just hurt my knees. So I wasn't going, my knees were not touching the ground like you normally would on a lunge, but I did it. And I'm happy that I did because it was torture.
Yeah. So I want everybody that's listening, think about what Jason just did today. He did list, miss, and hit, right? He walked on the treadmill for his cardio. That's the list. He also did obviously the running, the rowing, the stair climber. That's the miss, right? And then also like, the sprints that you mentioned. I know you said it was only at a 7 miles per hour. That's still good, man. That's like the hit. And there was all these different things that Jason did. It wasn't just, running. It was walking. It was a stair climber. He mentioned also at the end, just doing body weight lunges, right? So when it comes to cardio, guys, think in terms of that. You guys can get creative. It doesn't have to be just walking in place, right? Or running or swimming. It could be kettlebells are very lightweight and you're doing it for X amount of time also. Like how Jason was doing the lunges for 10 minutes, which is, it's hard, Jason. It's hard for myself, man. That's why I put it on there. It's one of those workouts where you dread literally doing it and you question life as you're doing it, as you're having this outer body experience. and
Absolutely.
and then at the end, you're like, man, I'm really proud of myself. It's a satisfaction feeling. So I want to ask you the same thing that I asked Mike there at the end, right? What would you say is like the 3 biggest tips? Because once again, you've been inside of this coaching program for quite some time. We're always adapting new levels, right? As once again, we're approaching this Spartans race. We're talking more about cardio, more about pushing ourselves, stepping outside of our comfort zone. What would you say has been like the 3 biggest tips that has helped you? But I don't want you to use physical tips, right? I want to know more about the mindset tips because, correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't very long ago when you first got signed up, you were afraid to look at yourself in the mirror dead in the eyes. You hated looking at yourself. You lacked the self-confidence. You hated all that stuff. And now we're a totally different person. Is that safe to say?
100%. Yep.
Okay. So what would you say is like
So,
the biggest 3 tips for somebody's mindset to grow?
well, I think that with that, it's being open-minded, right? We all think we know all the answers. I know all the answers every time. So, um, but there's always something else to learn, and you may not understand it. Like I didn't understand affirmations. I didn't like affirmations when you first started, 2 years ago. Like you said, I didn't want to look at myself in the face and say the stuff that I was saying. But it's just like doing a bicep curl or a chest press. You got to work the muscle, and eventually you'll get to where you need to be. And once you can do that, it is definitely life changing. You got to flip that switch though, because you've got to love yourself. You've got to be able to talk positive about yourself. I mean, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws. We all need to work on something, but that doesn't mean that you can't look at the good stuff and remind yourself that every day. So
Absolutely.
that's number one. Number
That's a
two,
beautiful number 1 also. Let me just say that, man. That's a beautiful answer. Continue.
number two, absolutely without a doubt, is the community. To have somebody, I, I'll be straight. I can't hold myself accountable. I try and I fail. You guys see it when especially on Sundays, when I post my nutrition, I fail. I try. Um, but having that, you know, 80-20% with the food and the nutrition, because I think nutrition's up at the top, 2 and 3. But having that accountability and having everybody beside you when you fall down, you got all these other people that will step up, put their hand out, help you up, and literally walk beside you as you're going on this journey. And that is so invaluable because I've tried to do it by myself and I've failed every single time throughout my life. Right. So that's why I've been able to stay where I'm at for what are we at? 2 years and some change now.
So before we get into that 3rd tip, let me ask you a question about that. What made I guess signing up for Heartletics like okay, I need to do this. I need to make this decision because for most people that struggle with accountability and they try things doing themselves their own way, they continue to do that because kind of like the ego or maybe pride a little bit, where it's like, hey, I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to wave the white flag and admit I need some help. And obviously, like that's the hardest thing for most people to do in terms of their journey, is to invest into themselves. What helped you make that decision, Jason?
Oh man, at that point I was what, 360 pounds and did walking. I hated walking. It hurt. I was out of breath. I sat there and I prayed. I was like, I need some help because I can't figure it out. My Facebook was just obliterated with all kinds of ads from different people, to help lose weight. And I just kept scrolling and scrolling, and all of a sudden, boom, there comes your face popping up. And I don't know, something smacked me in the face and said, this is the answer. Clicked it, and then some weird guy was texting me, asking me for half naked pictures. So I won't say that
So
it took me
true.
like, it might have took me a week and a half to put that picture out there, but now that one's saved. I don't have a problem putting that one out there anymore.
Yeah,
So
I actually thought like you for sure blocked me after I asked you and never heard back.
it took a hot minute, but I finally did, and now look at where we're at. So
I love it, man. I love it. Um, so you were in a lot of pain, right? Struggled a lot. It
mhm.
just kind of felt right. I love that, man. Let's get into that third mindset tip, and then Brian, we're going to come to you last.
Third mindset. So what do we got? We got that.
You
Oh,
said
that's a tough one.
affirmations, and then you said
Yeah.
community. What would you say is the third one?
Um, Grace. Because it's, prior to Heartletics, I would do real good. I mean, I could lose and gain 70 plus pounds at a time. But when I got, I'd lose that 70 pounds, and then something life would throw a curveball, right? And then I would eat and I would jump on the scale knowing I shouldn't. I'd see I gained 5 pounds, whether it was real or not. And that little thing got in my head, said, well, you failed. So tomorrow, did the same thing. Well, I gained another 5 pounds. So now you're really failing. So, and then I would just go off the rails, and all that weight would come right back. So you've got to give yourself grace, because we always fail. It's just human nature, as much as we try not to, right?
Yeah,
So give yourself grace. Know that one day is not going to wreck your entire thing. Get right back at it, and don't have any regret.
I like that. I like that a lot. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Um, Brian, let's go to you last, man. I want to know cardio, right? In terms of, because you're somebody that I always see stand in place. And last night I was gonna clock out and post inside the 28-day challenge that I was at like 19,000 steps. And I saw Jeremy Wade's post that he hit 20K. And I was like, oh, I want to get that 20K now also. And I instantly thought of you because I was watching a movie last night, The Wild Robot, with my son. Shout out to Jimmy for hooking me up for his Peacock account so I can watch. And so we were watching it last night, and Oakley's like, "Hey, sit down next to me," and I was like, I was like, "I'm gonna stand up in place." And this is the coolest part is I always think about you in terms of two places, Brian, and they both happened last night. So last night I'm standing in place, just walking, just like what you're doing right now, watching that movie. Okay, 5 minutes later, Oakley gets up from the couch, stands right next to me, and starts doing a little shuffle dance, like we're jumping jacks, high knees, butt kicks as we're watching the movie. And I thought about right when your wife posted that video that was shared on Facebook about your kids working out with you. So
Yeah.
literally, the two things kind of happened to me last night. So I want to give some credit where credit's due and just say thank you for the inspiration. Now, back to the cardio. What is your favorite form of cardio, and what is your least favorite form of cardio?
So favorite, I don't like cardio at all, but
Right.
walking is what I do. I do walking in place pretty much every day. I love, like, when we were out and about, like at a baseball game or I'm doing baseball practice. I like that because then I'm actually out moving outside and moving, and it's not just walking in place or whatever. So if in a perfect world, if I didn't have kids at home all the time and I had more time on my hands, I would go for more walks for sure. Not only is it cardio, but it's like therapeutic for the brain, fresh air, being out, getting your vitamin D, all that stuff. So,
Talk
um,
about that a little bit more, actually, because I feel like we have yet to talk about that, and that's actually like one of the main reasons why I like to walk so much. Is it is very therapeutic, right? You can vent, you can get stuff off your chest, you can think more clear. It's just
Yeah.
more peaceful, right? So I guess what have you kind of noticed in terms of that when you go out for these walks?
Well, one, I feel like you're focused on what you're doing outside, like by walking. So you tend to forget things. Like, for example, I read this book a long time ago about pain, like joint pain and stuff, and back pain and stuff. And it was focused on back surgery and saying that basically 50% of back surgery are unnecessary, that it's all in your mind. Like your mind creates this, your subconscious creates this barrier that protects yourself, and so that gives off these false pains. So if you ever had a situation where like, oh, my back hurts, but then you go out to do yard work and you don't feel pain at all, it's that you have a stressor somewhere in your life you don't realize. And I think
Yep.
walking is great for that, because then it kind of like shuts that side of your brain off and you're just relaxed. So at
Yeah.
least that's what I notice whenever I'm walking. So outside.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And what is your least favorite form of cardio and why?
Running, anything to do with running. That's why I played sports growing up. I hated running, but when I played the sport, it was easier to run because it was part of the sport and I enjoyed playing the sport. So it's the competitive side of it. But right now, trying to get back into running, it's been really difficult. I actually made sure I had no expectations going into it. Like it is what it is, and we're just going to try to build on that. And that's been good so far. So I've been proud of myself, at the same time wishing I get better. And so it's kind of one of those things, you know?
And listen, even though you said no expectations, that's the best expectation that you can give to yourself on your
Yeah.
health and fitness journey is what you just said, which is, hey, whatever happens, happens. We're just going to go with the flow, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And like
absolutely.
when there's no stress, when there's no, oh, I need to lose X amount of weight, or I need to go for these runs, or I need to like bench X amount of weights.
Yeah.
Like there's no, once again, there's no stress to that. It's just flowing with it, you know? I like that. So from one busy parent to another, but obviously you have it seems just like more busyness, more stress, more chaotics, right? When it comes to like you advancing on your health and fitness journey and still trying to be, solid at work, and also a loving husband, and also a loving father, right? That is there
Yeah.
for his children, right? How do you balance, right? The last question is going to be for you. 3 tips, right, on how to balancing your health and fitness journey, right? On obviously being a parent, being obviously a husband, a worker, etc. Right? What are 3 key tips for balance?
So the first thing I've learned, and I stole this from somebody else. I can't remember. It was another influencer or whatever. But basically, we all have seasons of life, right? So I have 3 young kids, 5, 3, and 15 months. This is just a season of life. So yes, in a perfect world, I wish I could go to the gym 5 days a week at 4 a.m. and get 8 hours of sleep and do all this stuff. But the one thing I've learned is whatever season of life you're in, don't focus on what it is you can't do. Focus just on what you can do, and be resilient and just be kind of like moldable and bounceable and able to bounce around and just do what you can, and just realize that this is only temporary. And once that temporary period's over, then you can start being more regimented on your schedule. So I've just learned to kind of let go a little bit about that and just do what I can each day, you know?
It's a great tip. Right?
Yeah.
It goes right hand in hand with our motto that 1% better each and every day, not
Right.
10%, not 50, not 100,
Yep.
1%. That's good, man. What's number 2?
Number 2, I'm still this. Jason said it earlier, but grace, because the key to life is not when you fall down, it's what you do when you fall down. And so you're going to fall down. We all do. It doesn't matter what you do in your life, whether you're running a business, whether you're playing a sport, you're raising kids, you're always going to have days that beat you up. But the key is we just keep getting back up. We keep showing up regardless, and we reach out whenever there's a problem. You know, we don't hold it in. We don't try to be on an island all by ourselves. We're not meant to be on an island. We're meant to be part of a community. So that's my tip, is to give yourself grace, but make sure that you just don't quit, no matter what journey you're on right now.
Yeah, that's beautifully said also. And like shout out to you and also Jason, because when you guys do overindulge and way overeat on the calories, like you still post it, you still track it. And like there could be part of you that says, why even do this? Why even track it? Just eat it. Who even cares? But like that's integrity, right?
Yeah.
Integrity to me is like one of the hardest character traits to build upon, but it simply means doing the right things even when no one else is looking. And I like what you said about like, you're gonna fall down. You got to give yourself grace. And I believe it's like a Chinese proverb that says, fall down 7, stand up 8. And it's once again
That's a
like,
good one.
yeah, it's like you're gonna fall down. It's gonna happen, but the last part is the stand up,
Yeah.
So what's the 3rd tip?
Third tip is open-minded. Like I know we said this before, but literally open-minded, especially when you're first starting on your journey. And don't try to do everything all at once. Focus on one key thing at a time until you master it, and then move on to the next step. I feel like sometimes in our journeys we go like January 1st, okay, I'm gonna lose 60 pounds and work out 5 days a week. I'm gonna run 17 miles. Like that's just too much. You need to do one at a time, build the consistency habit, and keep the habit stacking. And a shout out to Atomic Habits, read that book.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what it's all about. I mean, like, think
My
about it.
son's about to get really loud. I'm really sorry.
You're good, brother. You're good. I'll mute you if that's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, what you said, the last part there, I mean, that's generally what it's all about. Start off small, build up those wins, build up that momentum, and then progress from there. You know, you mentioned about the New Year's, and I think that's 100% truth, right? There's like what, 85, 90% of the people out there, the stats is that the New Year's resolution fails. And it's because we give ourselves like these goals. Like, hey, I haven't worked out in the past 2 years. So I'm going to sign up for a gym membership and work out every single day for the next 3 months and lose X amount of weight. Like, look at the habits, right? It's not an alignment. And like, that's the key for success with anybody in the health and fitness journey. Your daily habits, that's what equals success. You know, like hitting crazy PRs, that's good. But can you hit PRs every single day? Probably not. So it's like, what is the habit that we can give ourselves? Well, hey, let's work out at least 3 times a week. That's a great habit to have. Let's go for a walk. Let's drink more water. Let's eat more protein. You know, going back to with why people fail is they bite off way more than they can chew, you know, and I partly believe that's because of just the world that we're living in today. You got things like Ozempic that says, hey, take this shot and boom, instantly you're going to lose all this weight. You don't have to worry about anything, but like, they're never going to tell you the side effects, you know? And like, there's plenty of people that have took that shot and then they get signed up for athletics and they said, oh man, this is crazy because we're not doing anything different. We're just making small little tweaks. And those small little tweaks, right? That's what really makes a world of a difference is like, what is the small little things that you can focus on doing that's sustainable? Is that getting more steps in, like what we talked about today? Is that drinking more water, eating more protein? Is that doing some push-ups and sit-ups because we haven't done it? And like just over time, building up that momentum, that's what leads to the great results. You know, it's just that once again, we have to believe, hey, it's going to happen, but not put a time frame to it. You know, like once again, Ozempic, hey, you can lose a bunch of weight just like this. Optavia, hey, eat these 500 calorie crap tasty meals and lose a whole bunch of weight just like this. Hey, go get weight loss surgery and lose a whole bunch of weight right like this. Once again, there's side effects to all this. And it's because, in my opinion, right, we live in this society where it's almost like this Amazon Prime, right? We want everything tomorrow. We want the results. We want the results. We want it to happen tomorrow. We want it to happen yesterday, right? We want it right now. And that's why I like fat loss so much and talking about it. Because your health and fitness journey, when it comes to losing body fat, you learn more about the person that you're becoming during the journey, right? Not just about building better habits for yourself, but building more discipline, overcoming challenges, right? Like adversity. Like, Mike, let me ask you, because I know you're unmuted, and then Jason, I'll go to you next. Would you have say the best transformation that happened in terms of you losing all that weight, getting off your medications, right? It's adapting this new body, this new self-image. Would you say the best transformation happened to who you became in the process?
Absolutely. And honestly, I had to change up here before anything else changed.
Yeah. And that's why the foundation of all this is mindset. You don't get a new mindset if, let's say, you get weight loss surgery. You don't, right? And that's why most of the time people eventually fail, you know, and they regain all this weight right back and then more, you know, same thing with the shots, same thing with the crazy diets. You don't learn anything. Jason, what would you say, right? When it comes to like that transformation that you had to adapt, the transformation mentally that you had to become in that process, would you say that's the best results that you got?
Absolutely, 100%. Mike said it, nailed it on the head. You got to change the brain before anything else changes, because you got to be able to sustain it. And that's what's great, because my wife's been with me prior to Harletics and through it, and she absolutely 100% can see the difference between prior and now. So, and she loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about just changing, right? Once again, who you guys are, right? It's, you don't have to become, hey, I'm obsessed with working out. There's plenty of people that's in part of this program that's not, you know, but maybe that process of who you're becoming is somebody that's obsessed with just being 1% better each and every day. Maybe that person is, hey, I'm going to strive to be more. I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to have more integrity like Jason and, Brian, and track even when I'm overindulging on my calories. Like, you're becoming this person, you're becoming this individual. And that's why I like this coaching program so much. That's why I like, health and fitness so much. You can't just go to the store and buy a new body, right? As much as we want, we can't do that, right? We have to transform it, right? And we have to, once again, build and adapt. And if you guys ever think about and see maybe online the image I posted a few times, Jason, you even made some recommendations about this. It's the guy, the sculpture, and he has like 6-pack abs, chiseled chest, hairline's looking all good, right? And these big fat legs. You guys know what I'm talking about? And he's chiseling himself. Well, to me, that simple image is like, hey, those big chunks of clay that he's blocking off, yeah, like those are going to be those quick wins that's going to come often. But those small little razor thin details, like his veins on his biceps, his chest, his abs, right? The hairline, all that stuff. Like, think about it. Any artist is going to take delicate time with that. So when it comes to us on our health and fitness journey, the actual details that we really want to see, right? Like the abs, the chiseled chest, the hairlines, like the stuff that's like, man, this is what makes this sculpture look so good, so profound. It's going to take the most amount of time. It's going to require that precise detail. And it's going to require, once again, like slowly chipping away, not the big, huge, hammer swings. No, because you're going to mess it up. And that's where often, once again, people fail on their health and fitness journey, is because they're constantly trying to take these big, huge hammer swings. I'll cut out my carbs. I'll do the backflips and burpees. I won't eat anything, right? All these things that maybe are not sustainable, and they never seen those fine-tuned details. And when it comes to seeing, once again, those fine-tuned details, it's the consistency. It's the little chops, right? The little taps here and there, right? 1% better here, 1% better here, 1% better here. And at the end of the day, as long as you just move in that direction, and just like what Brian said, there's going to be different seasons of life. Some seasons of life, hey, you're going to be busy with the family, and maybe you can invest more into your health and fitness goals. Maybe you can only make it to the gym or do a few workouts once or twice a week, compared to other seasons of life where you can make it 4 to 5 times a week. That's okay. It's better than zero. And that's what this whole entire coaching program is teaching you guys. What to adapt is who you are mentally before who you become physically, right? That transformation first has to start with your mindset, where you believe in yourself, where you know how to pivot and roll through life's challenges, so that way you can continue to strive and continue to be that 1% better, rather than just saying, oh, I got this injury, I can't work out today. Oh, I'm sick today, I can't eat healthy today, or I can't do this. Oh, I'm traveling, oh, well, I can't still track my macros and I'm just going to splurge on everything. It's about realizing like, hey, I'm building this person. And when life throws me curveballs, I'm just going to try my best to overcome that and look at them as opportunities and stepping stones to success, because I'm building, once again, a better mindset as I'm building this better body. That's the key, guys, when it comes to all this, when it comes to, once again, having success and reaching your fitness goals and maintaining it.